That is Larry.
It is.
Sorry for the delay, but we are definitely glad to be back. We have a very special show set up for you this evening. Legend, this is your baby. So you want to tell them a little bit about it?
Yeah, we this show is pretty much going to focus on the golden years of Baja sports, and like I said, we're just going to be highlighting some of the teams that won state or went pretty far. And so, that's pretty much what the show's going to be about today.
Okay, let's get one Blitz topic.
One Blitz?
One Blitz.
All right.
I think we both shared
the same we kind of share the same thing.
All right, so you want me to go ahead and
go ahead and start it off.
Take the stick first. Sha'Carri Richardson, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but, she's been in the news. Unfortunately, she won't be participating in the Olympics because of, she failed the drug test for weed. And look, rules are rules, though. Rules are rules. Okay?
Correct.
And you already know that they're going to penalize Phelps. You already know that we're going to go down too. So, but this is my thing. My issue is not so much the consequences or what she has to go through as far as yes, she's going to lose millions. This is the big issue. You penalize Sha'Carri for weed. At the same time, we have congressmen fighting to allow people who they're identified with to run in that particular sport, basically transgender. If you are a boy and you identify as a girl, you can play in those sports. Now, Texas is not allowing that, but you got almost probably 30 to 40% of the country that's allowed. I guarantee you the heat is going to come on in Texas because Texas is a big state for sports, and it's coming. Hey, man, the alphabet people not playing, man. They're not playing, man. People laugh, but it's a serious deal.
But listen, you saying that they're allowing it, but if you have to think about it, the transgenders, they not being able to run in the Olympics because they take hormones.
No.
So they get tested, so they not.
Exactly.
They would fail
I'm
too.
just talking about the growth that's growing.
Okay.
Right. I'm just making a point.
All right.
That right now, a third of the states are allowing this.
So now when you said that they penalized Phelps did get penalized.
Yeah, he got penalized for, I think he got 30 days. So that's what I'm saying. It's not so much that we can say as a community, we just be like, come on, girl, learn your lesson, you know the deal, but it is unfortunate, though.
Well, even by Olympic standards, like you said, transgenders aren't able to compete. I don't think that what they're pushing they'll ever make it to that level with the Olympics, because now once you do that, you're gonna take out so many banned substances and everything else. I
hear you on that. I think that's wishful thinking. The simple fact that it's growing already, and you know how it goes. Once you get a third of the states, then all of a sudden half the states, and all of a sudden 75%.
But they only need Texas. If Texas go with it, everybody else gonna go with it.
But no, what I'm saying is, when you're looking at the Olympic standard, we can feel that way all of them, but there's still the Olympic Committee is not going to allow that.
I would like to know, King, the makeup of the Olympic Committee and the countries that's very liberal when it comes to the alphabet people. Because if you got a committee with that's on that.
So now that you do that, so now do you? If you're going to do that, do you allow women to take? When I say women, I'm talking about women that are born female. Exactly. Let me be politically.
So you're going to my next point.
So you're going to allow them to take steroids?
Right. So that opens the door for all that. So now, because in order to compete with this lady boy, you're going to have to take some testosterone shots.
All right. We're gonna be out there again. With that being said, we're gonna go to a break. And like I said, when we come back, we have a very special show. Please stay tuned. You're gonna see some of Ball High's finest.
Maduro Cigar Lounge, location 2800 Marina Bay Drive in League City, Texas. As you can see, Maduro's is a very warm, fine establishment with cozy and warm chairs for relaxation. Back part of the cigar lounge, humidor with some fresh and fine cigars to your expense. Maduro's also has a private cigar lounge, VIP status, cozy chairs, nice and warm. So whenever you're in League City, stop by Maduro's Cigar Lounge, 2800 Marina Bay Drive. They will be glad to see you.
I'm riding down in my own business, and I pass by Jaquay's Chicken and Waffles at 4312 St. Gore Street in Dickinson. And I see all these people walking around eating chicken with smiles on their face. I put down my window and ask somebody, why is everybody so happy? Brother gonna tell me, if you must know, brother, go inside and order a 10-piece dirty rice with a waffle on the side. So I go in and order me a 10-piece dirty rice with a waffle on the side and macaroni, and guess what? It made me happy. Man, that is the best chicken and waffles on this side of the Mississippi or the Beltway. Point is, go see my boy Shorty at 4312 at St. Gore, Dickinson, Texas, or call at 832-820-8560. Guaranteed to put a smile on that face.
Thank you for letting us go. Thank you for letting us go. Thank you. Coach Will, Coach Barry, like somebody needs the microphone.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all phone don't vibrate.
What's up, Coach?
All right, we are back live upper room. We are with members of the state finalists team from 1982. Best team in Galveston Bar history, right?
Arguably.
Oh, it's arguable.
Arguably.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What we'll do is let you gentlemen introduce yourselves. We got to start the coaches from the front. Wouldn't be nothing about that. Coach?
Coach T. Berry. Coach Jerry Williams. Will Martin. Howard Dergins.
All right, Coach, can you tell us a little bit about that journey that year as opposed to year before or years before? When did you know that team would be special?
I would say midway the season. I knew it was going to be a good team from the get-go, but midway the season, we went up to San Marcos and we beat Boulevard, Dunbar, and Houston Memorial, and we lost to Churchill in the finals, close game. Then we came back and beat Perennial Powers, Bryant, and Cashmere, and Wheatley in the JC tournament. And by that time, we were in the top 10 in the state, and we went through district 16-0, and beat Clear Lake at home at their place. We beat them in both places, but at their place, the first game they had lost in 3 years. And so, yeah, by that time, we were special. We were rolling. We were rolling at the end of district.
I tell you what I want y'all to do, I'm going to start off with Rudy T. Y'all just go down the line, and y'all just kind of give your opinion, what you thought made this team so hard to beat. Okay, Rudy. Come on.
It made it hard to beat. Coming up together, 8th grade, came together, stayed together. To the 12th grade. Seemed like everybody improved. We was like family. Guys never wavered. When we played, we didn't feel like anybody could beat us. And when we had tight games and we played, we stuck it out. We didn't crumble like the teams before us because we, as kids growing up in Galveston, they had always had good teams, and we seen those teams lose to teams that they should have beat. And it was just mental. It wasn't physical, but we were physically better. That was the special part. We were like family, and we growed up with one another, and we stayed with one another, and ate off of one another's tables.
It was like a family.
Oh man, that was it.
When he said we stayed together, see, virtually everyone on that team was seniors that year, so they had been together.
Yeah, like 4 years.
I think the important thing was he created an environment for us to grow. He didn't stop us. He didn't stop the real from being crazy. He let the real be crazy. But he harnessed it to what he got the best out of the real. Because when you go to places like Cashmere and Wheatley, you need somebody that's going to stir it up.
Oh, yeah.
You need somebody going to stir up and tell Bill Kruger and them to go to wherever they need to go. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was critical for us. Not only helped us in that, but he helped us in life too. He taught us about, hey man, y'all got too many girlfriends, and y'all need to do this, you gotta go to class, you can't have no basketball, you gotta be in by 10 o'clock. That's funny, but it's real. I'm telling you, that's the way it was for us. But it was okay because we needed that. We didn't have any fathers at home. I don't think too many of us had fathers at home, so we needed somebody to reach out to us. That's what he did for us.
And Coach Will too.
Yeah, he gonna holler at you.
I think what made us know that we were special, man, we come together me and him first came together when we were real young, playing against one another. And I used to see Rudell all the time coming through my neighborhood. You know, just generally speaking, we were always like family, man. Even way back when we were little kids. And I think that's what makes a team special, when you can be like a family, and a member of your family can come to you and tell you anything, and you be able to accept criticism for what it is and make it positive, you know, turn it into positive. And I knew we were special when I used to read the newspapers every morning, and the first printout came and said, Galveston ball looms strong for state title. Yeah. And I knew we were special then.
Yeah. That's well.
Well, I think it starts off with have to give credit players, but also I've always admired Coach Berry, the way that he orchestrated the team, guided the team, discipline that he had. And I thought he was an outstanding coach. It's just a privilege just to be working with him. On the other hand, the players, I think one of the things most attractive about that particular team, we had players that were able to play several different positions. You know, and sometimes we played, we played Rudell outside, one of our shooting power forwards, and sometimes we were able to play him inside. You know, and our guard play. You look at the ability of Dergins, you know, he's just a dynamic player that played real tough consistently, and really able to focus in on being able to visualize the floor at all times. You know, so we had a great deal of players. And we were deep. You know, our rotation was there. We had several kids coming off the bench that we felt very comfortable in playing. You know, that was key to it right there.
Yeah, those point guards were very unselfish because we used 3 point guards to keep pressure on the ball. And either one of them could have started, you know, could have ran a team for virtually the whole game, but so they sacrificed and made us a better team in the process. Harold Dergins, Kenneth Shelton, and Mark Robbins.
With that class, you know, we always run into the stigma that, especially when you have a lot of African American kids playing basketball, they don't have the skill set, they can't shoot and stuff like that. So how was the practices? Like, what things did y'all work on fundamentally in practice to improve your shooting, your guard play?
Can I answer that? Go ahead. I think Coach Berry was one of the greatest shot teachers in the history of basketball. That's my opinion. I mean, when I was playing for him, I could score and everything, but he taught me how to shoot the ball in a better way that helped my shot. But I think he was the greatest instructor.
You know, it's funny. Before that season, I went to a camp about shooting at Memorial High School, and we ended up beating them in the regional finals.
Hey, one of the things, practice things about our practice, we spent time on just working on various situations defense-wise. Tying the ball, cutting off the baseline, you know, help on the backside, you know. We did a lot of drill on, this is a daily situation that Coach Berry orchestrated. I think that really helped us defensively-wise. We were able to do pressure.
Coming out of the stretch, 5 in the morning, you got to come to practice. Then after you get to practice, you get dressed, you go to school. And then sometime on the team, you got to shoot free throws at lunchtime. Then we went to practice in the evenings. That's the class, that's your 8-period class. Then you go off for about 30, 40 minutes, and you come back to real practice. And then we'll practice from like 5 to like 8:30. And then we'll go home. This is every day.
How was the intensity? How was the intensity of play? Somebody describe that for us.
The intensity.
Listen, you don't make your man turn 2 times on half court, you're going to get whooped.
He said a whooping.
You're going to get whooped. You're going to get. So Barry never put his hands on us, but you thought he would. I mean, really. And you need that. We needed that type of individual in our life.
But he let us practice. He didn't hold back. Nah. He locked the doors, and we went at a dog fight and whatever. Yeah. And I had all. Well, I don't want to speak by myself. But I'm gonna say I had some of the players that some of you cats may like. Go to the end of the line. They ain't want to come up front. They say, no, I ain't going with you. I had to go against players like these here. Them other players want to go, keep on going with them other players.
Hey, we remember.
Man, so Barry, along the way to the state final, who did y'all play in the final?
First year, we ran up with them again.
Y'all beat them first time?
No, they beat us.
Beat us 60-55.
Okay, so besides Churchill, along the way, what was some of the toughest games you ran into, and what adjustments did you have to make to pull those games out?
See, we were a very versatile team. You know, we could play fast. We loved to play fast, but we could also play slow. We had a good inside game. We had a good outside game. We had a good zone press. We had a good man-to-man press. So you know, every team goes into a game supposed to with a game plan. But like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until you get hit. Yeah, you get hit in the mouth. So we had to be able to make adjustments. Cashmere was a tough game. That was the regional semifinals. Memorial. Those were 2 one-point victories. And Lamar, you know, we played Lamar over there, and that was a tough game. Our leading scorer got injured before the game and couldn't play. And that's one thing that hurt us in the playoffs because, like I said, going into the playoffs, we were rolling. But when Oscar got hurt, that's Oscar White I'm speaking of, we had to change our rotation. And he missed part of those playoff games. And I think if he hadn't gotten hurt, we would have won it all because we were a force to be reckoned with coming out of district.
Coach Will, were the players, were they self-motivated, or did you and Coach Barry, did y'all have to push them, or what type of players did this team have as far as the work ethic?
Well, number one, I'll get back to that, but our practice was always very intense. We didn't have any downtime. We didn't have any rest period. Everything we did was very organized, very intense. Even if we were shooting free throws, it was a total concentration situation right here. And it goes back to your leadership on the court. We had leaders like Rudell was an outstanding leader, in my opinion. The guys fed off of that. We really didn't have to motivate the kids. And it goes back to the fact that, again, the kids look at your leader. You look at your leader. Again, look at Coach Barry. Some of the things that he demanded. I demanded it also. So that was a key factor there.
I think one of the differences in us again, they didn't have to pay you. It's different. Basketball in high school was all we had. If you don't play there, you don't really play nowhere. And when you're able to play, you got to be your best. And it was great for us to be. I like it, but it takes away from the school. Yeah. But it gives a lot of other kids opportunities that wouldn't be able to receive. But he was critical. I think the important thing for us was that he brought us. We stayed together. The practice was intense. But we just didn't do about basketball. It was about life. What you gonna do when you get out here? When you don't go to college? He took me and Harold after we graduated to go to some school. We did a walk on at Alvin Junior College and made it and didn't even go. You know what I'm saying? So we can't blame anything on Coach Barry. Coach Barry did his part. You know what I'm saying? But I'm grateful.
Let me ask you this. You brought up AAU basketball select ball. Do you think the absence of AAU could have helped? Because just by listening, you tell me y'all could have had a very intimidating, right? Now, you know, in AAU, these kids see each other year round, so it's no mistake. So when y'all walked on the court, after y'all went on the run, now you got people thinking, man, Galveston Ball coming in here. We ain't never seen them before. Do y'all think that helped, Coach?
Well, they always took us because we were smart. We had we had the point guard, 2 swing men, and 2 power forwards. We don't even have to go do nothing speed. Run the ball down the court. Shoot, run, we can jump, we can do it all. So they see us, they don't think we can play with them. But we show them out. We show them that we really can. We got it.
Growing up in Galveston, and you guys, you know, just like us, you know, you played at Alamo, Menard, right, CUNY. Yeah. How did growing up in Galveston and playing in the neighborhoods, knowing Galveston mentality, how did that help y'all build your game negatively and positively? How did it, you know, did it help you as far as your attitude, make you mentally tough? Y'all want to talk about that, you know, as far as getting it? Because I was playing against older people. So grown-ups told me that I wasn't going to play down here. Gonna come down here. So, okay. So I went over there and played with the grown-ups. And so I took that to the schoolhouse. And so I was more advanced than these guys. Because a lot of them wasn't playing the way I was playing and who I was playing against. And so that helped me. Ken?
Toughness in Galveston. Just growing up, you know, then I played ball out there. And I would play ball under the dome in right CUNY Park. And I would leave there and go play at Central. Leave there and go play at Austin. Leave there and go play at Rosenberg. And then we go Linden. And then I'd go all the way down.
All day.
This is every day, all day. So the toughness, when you're playing in Portland, you're playing with grown men. You got to be tough around here.
Man, it was tough. I believe that the toughest place you can ever play at is right CUNY Park.
Right CUNY Park.
If you ain't played that, you ain't played no basketball. That's my opinion about it all. You know, I'm not saying that there's not tough players all over Galveston, but the toughest, that's where they come to play. When you play there, and you play, you always pick, you never sit down, then you know you're a player.
One thing I like what Coach Berry used to do back in the day, and I don't know if he did it with you all, but like when he used to have the basketball camps. And then that way you can look and see what players that's developed, who you're going to pick up. Did you all have that?
Virtually at that time, I think Coach Berry was basically just starting that as we were in our senior year. He had it every year.
He used to work on it.
Was it? Mm-hmm. But I'm saying we never had an opportunity to come through the camp like that. We always played like you would open the gym for us after practice.
Right.
And we would play like that there. But at the time, we coming up there, we got to work in the summertime, you know.
Yeah.
If you want to buy different clothes this weekend, you got to go work, son. You're gonna wear what I buy, you know.
Right.
But not getting off the subject. But I never had really a affiliation with. But I think he started a nice program. Everything he put his hands on, I believe was great, man.
Because he helped us get jobs in the summertime. We worked at gyms.
Right.
So we were in gym down there. And he got paid for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He created them camps.
Yeah, the camps were for younger kids.
Yeah.
But I could hire my players
Exactly.
to train the younger kids. And then after the camp was open, we leave the gym open.
That's right.
You know, see, it all started back when my first year in Galveston, 71. The next year, 72. I had a job. Me and Coach Wynn opening up Central, and I saw the talent that came through there every day. You know, and I said, when I got to Ball High, I said, we need to do something here at Ball High that we can attract the younger kids and have them improving and still have something for the older kids to do later in the afternoon. And the city paid for it.
On y'all way in the playoffs, y'all have any pressure from the community to win it all? I mean, as each round go higher and higher, what was the expectation from the community? Because it's been a while. You will have to go back to maybe early 60s or 50s at Central before we even went to state. Right? So y'all was like the next class. So how was that expectation? What type of pressure did you have to face from the community?
I don't think we wanted that kind of pressure. I think that everybody believed that we were going to win. Yeah. And we had the talent to win it all. I believe we lost it because we missed too many free throws. That's why I believe we lost the game.
When other teams had gone and not gotten all the way there, then why would we be under pressure if the other teams didn't make it? You know what I mean? So no, I never felt any pressure at all.
To me, the community
was behind us.
They feel a great deal of excitement.
But I think they were there 100% behind us.
Yeah.
They were everywhere we went. They were there.
Yeah, because they all, like I say, they always had better. Well, I can't say better, but they always had good players.
They had good
and
players.
so they had good teams, but they didn't make it. So nobody didn't have any.
Well, let me ask this since you said that. Now, we all know we're from Galveston. We know that the talent that has come through.
Yeah.
Coach, was that your most talented team? I mean, because most talented doesn't always equate the best.
Right. It was my most talented team, but when I was junior high coach, a JV coach, we had more talented teams. I think everyone would attest to that.
Yeah. When they got to the varsity level, they couldn't win it. I've seen some of those teams.
But we had varsity talent. We had more talented teams at the varsity level than this team, but they didn't make it as far.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to what Rudell was saying as far as y'all were more like a family, y'all were playing together, and you had a team full of seniors, you know, so that's a big factor.
But we were not in awe of any team at all, you know.
Now when he go in there talking crazy, say, man, you go into a Booker T. Washington, bro, you walk into Wheeling, they got that ball around the fence.
We went to Cashman, we beat them in Cashman.
Yeah. Bro, you need somebody to stud up in there, bro. You go in there scared, they're going to run you up out of there. He ain't running us out of there. We ain't going to know.
They talking about the intensity when we was in Cashmere. He told me if I didn't hit them free throws, me and him was going to fight after that. And I knew we was going to fight if I didn't make them free throws. Coach Barry, leave him alone, Rudell.
Hey, I'm gonna put a hard question on the coaches, because a lot of coaches don't like to answer this because they feel like they may insult a team or a player, whatever the case may be. But like the King has said, just because you have the most talent don't mean that you was the best team.
Exactly.
In your opinion, who is your best team that you think you have ever coached, and who is your best all-around player that you ever coached?
Ooh. Yeah, you know,
This was the best team.
Well, I mean,
it was the best team. Yeah.
Best player you ever coached, Coach.
I've never thought about that.
Good answer, Coach. Good answer.
I have to think about that. Give me a couple hours to think about it.
Coach Will? The best team you ever coached, and the best all-around player you ever coached.
Oh, well, I would have to say the 84 team. I would say best player. Best player, I would have to say. Can't say that.
I mean,
I know that's a hard question.
Your voice of the team that you had that year, the same team that came together when we went to state. You had us the JV year, man.
81.
We took care of our business.
Oh, yeah.
We beat people 122-61, man, in that gym.
Yeah, that was outstanding.
This is the intensity level. One time we won the game, I think we beat the people by 22 points. He wasn't satisfied.
Yeah.
So when we get back to Galveston, he won't go practice.
I heard about that.
He go over to the gym.
After
We all
the
run
game.
to the graveyard. He racing down the street in his car trying to find us.
Yeah.
And fired us out the next day.
Yeah.
Had some freshmen that practice the next
Yeah.
day. This is it. You talking about intense? This what I'm just saying. This is what it was.
So when you guys was coming up, who were some of your basketball heroes? Like guys that was when you guys was in junior high and elementary, who were some of the guys that you looked up to?
Mitch.
Best player I thought was Mike Gunner.
Mike and
I was
Mitch.
a Mike
So,
Miller fan.
I liked it all other players.
Yeah, I like the Mike.
But
He's the best point guard.
Besides the point guard, he was just a tough.
Yeah, I watched him all the way around.
And Lil Dan too. Lil Dan was a good
Yeah,
point
he
guard.
was a good point guard.
Lil Dan was so smooth.
But I like Mike.
Like
I think Mike was
Daniel Simmons.
Daniel Simmons, he was smooth. And I seen Mitch play. I only got to see him play like one time. That dude hit about 10 or 12 points in 2 or 3 minutes. And he was awesome.
Yeah. I do have one more. What did you play Churchill twice? Both times. I mean, what was the difference? I mean, what made them so tough as opposed to beating Cashmere, beating Wheatley?
Everybody was
They were big.
Everybody was
I mean, they were big, but they could play. You know, they could shoot, they could handle the ball. The point guard was 6'4". He was 6'4", and the first play in the Frank Irvin Center, the first play of the game, he posted up Harold. I knew it was going to be a long night. Yeah. But they had a good coach. They had a good coach. The coach had went to state the year before with another team. He was a good coach.
But you know what? Here's the deal. We had the last shot.
Yeah.
We just missed.
Yeah.
He just missed. And I gave it to the right. I threw it to him first. He missed it, threw it back to me. I gave it to Carl. Coming down the lane. Listen, an 18, 20-foot jump shot, he can make it 9 out of 10 times. He told me he didn't know whether to shoot banker or shoot net. And he just missed it.
Yeah, four members of that starting lineup went to the Southwest Conference, man. They were big, like 6'5", 6'6" types, and they were strong. They were well skilled. I mean, we found somebody shooting a jump shot and it went in. They were so strong, you know. They were a good team.
Yeah.
And they were number one virtually all year in the state.
How many games did y'all lose?
6. And
I think 2 because he kept the players home.
Yeah, that's sent y'all home.
Now he kept us home.
But he went to the party.
He was supposed to go to the party. He kept me, Janie,
So you got to stay home?
Wicks,
Yep.
Petteway, Paul Hilton, kept all of us
Not
out,
the
man.
fur game.
And they went on and played.
what about it?
That was the fountain. They found
That was the job.
That was a jail ball.
Yeah, we lost. Then we lost one to Washington, where
That's the first time
no. We got there and thinking the game was going to be at 7:30, and we had to come off the bus with no warm up
JV
plan.
played that
Yeah.
game, and we had to get on the court.
But that's the first time we seen that
Like
dude
7
was a true 7-footer though. And he was blocking everything. Kobe Bear was so mad.
Victor Ricks.
Man, you 7 foot, man. You from New York, wasn't you?
Right from Carter. He had moved to Houston from Carter.
Yeah.
He went to Houston.
No way.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. We have a couple more teams that we're gonna have in. Coach, you got anything? Y'all got anything y'all want to say for us? You know, wrapping it up.
Remember the 3 guys, our teammates that's not here. Jackson, Oscar White, Bob Bland, James Petteway. He's not deceased, but he's not here. John Chaney not here, but he's not deceased, but he's not here. Terrence Wilson, Mark Robbins.
Freshman.
He just came up. He just doing the playoffs. He wasn't on
Okay, Willie French.
That's y'all right there.
That's a shirt.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I just want to thank y'all for giving us the opportunity to be here.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Murphy. Thank you.
We definitely appreciate y'all taking y'all time and coming out, taking time away from your families or whatever else that you had going on. And we got some more things that's in the works. So So
yeah, I talked to him.
You already talked to him.
We'll be using some of the footage for the documentary.
Yes, can I say this here? I thank y'all for just even, like you say, bringing us here. And shoot, this may be the last time that we ever be in front of a camera, in front of y'all. I know we may see y'all in passing or whatever, but we thank y'all for just inviting us back, because it ain't like we had this done before, because we haven't in 40 years.
Hey, we really appreciate it, man, because believe it or not, we looked up to a lot of you guys, man. We done heard the stories.
The same thing.
I done heard the stories through Coach Will, some of the drills that Coach Barry was talking about. We did the same thing, the diving on the floor, going after a ball, the attack, taking charges. I hated all that, but we did. We did.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah. But before y'all go, we'll get a picture with you all. We'll get a picture of y'all group, and then we're going to get a picture with y'all, and then we're going to bring in the next group. So, And if you have your cell phone, be sure to vibrate for it.
Dog in the boom boom room.
Which one you going off of? This one? No, you going off of that one?
I'm going. I got this one.
That's yours. I'm ready to go, huh?
We ready? Yeah, we ready whenever y'all ready.
All right, we back now live, upper room with members of the 1984 what was it, quarterfinal team? Quarterfinal team. Best team in bar history.
No doubt, no question.
95 gonna be here a little later, man. They got something to say.
Coaching staff is quiet.
I'm just telling you, man. So yeah, we got several
95 team finished third, didn't
they? They went to semifinal.
Well, they wouldn't have made the playoffs in our era. That's all I got to say about that.
How many teams were back then? One.
Two.
That was a long time.
Two.
After the first year that they did. After our fourth year, they say.
Okay. All right. Well, again, let's start off with the coaches. What made their team special?
Just, I think one thing they were a family. They were truly like a family. I remember the year before we lost 3 games, 4 points each. We almost got to the playoffs. We lost. It was 10-6, about 7-3 against LaPorte. And at the end of that, the off season, it's the best I've seen as far as people being in the weight room, coming together. They were there all day, every day, and we opened the weight room. And that was the difference. I mean, I had people. James Gunny used to come by all the time. He told me, he said, Coach, I went over to the field house and we thought y'all were there because the weight room was going on just like when the coaches there. They told us y'all were in Louisiana at a coaches conference and stuff. But the players were in there. But the thing that you look at, they'll tell you, they would be just like brothers. It was nothing for them to fight each other. They go in the mat room and, hey, we want to fight, we're going to fight. But when we walk out of here, we're walking home together. And that's it. And nobody else better not try to mess with it.
Before I let Coach Holmes answer, I want to start off with, and everybody give your name and the position that you play, and then we'll come back with Coach Holmes. Okay?
Kevin Baptiste, Petteway, quarterback.
Kevin is running back, quarterback. Starting quarterback that day.
Oh, man.
Ty Scott, free safety.
All right, so Coach Holmes, back to the question that Wes had asked about what made the team so great.
Well, number one, what Coach Jones just emphasized by the camaraderie. And like I say, they was like brothers. In other words, if you fight one, you got to fight them all. I can remember we was practicing in the dome. As soon as we got back to the field house, somebody said there's a fight on the bus. And it was Eric Hill and Charles Lewis. Yeah. But the thing about it, we took them, put them in the room to finish it out. They would fight, then they say, time out, take a break and stuff, and then they'd start back fighting and stuff. And the good thing about it, once the fight was over, it was over. And until Charles died, like I say, the team, they still real close.
Good.
Yes.
And you get arrested for that stuff.
Right.
Everybody. If you knew about it, you
right. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
I
But like I say, they was like brothers. They took care of one another. And the good thing about it, like I say, they worked ethics in the weight room. A lot of time after school, like I say, they'll do the little workout. And the coaches said, we was close knit ourselves. And I think our foundation led off to those guys. And a lot of times it was a joke. I used to tell them, say, guys, do y'all have a home? Because this time the coaches, we got to get home to our family. Yeah, they say, Coach, when you go home, then we go home. But they wanted to stay around us. And a lot of times that we no matter where they live, we took them home. If they didn't have any traffic.
Disagree. We walk on. We walk on everywhere. If they need to give us home, give us a ride home late night. Right. A lot of coaches.
But he's right. Most of the time they went on and walked on.
Yeah.
But it was because they wanted to be together. I remember growing up the same way. I mean, we used to turn down rides to walk with our friends. We want to be together.
But let me ask each one of you the same question. When did you know that team was going to be special?
I felt from off season, in other words, from the previous season, we were real close getting to the playoffs. And it started in January with the off season. While the guys, they knew the importance about what off season was all about. So I guess they just made a pact to themselves by staying in the weight room to get bigger, faster, and stronger, and also carried during the summer. So in other words, we didn't have to say, is Eric Hill, is he going to show up? Is Baptiste going to show up? Is Gilbert going to show up? We knew they was going to be there. And so we saw the camaraderie during the summer and stuff. And just like I say, that once we started 2 days, that was another thing where the guys said him go home. We kind of kept him there. But in other words, they brought the little sack lunches.
It was disappointing to us, man, the year before. Actually, we had a pretty good before. And y'all know this guy, spoke about the name of Brother Man, President Valley, on the 5th. We took a tough loss to the last game of the season before 7-3 in the rain. And I think that was our motivating factor.
I think another thing that people have to realize about this team, when they were freshmen, a lot of them had to play JV because the class ahead of them, the group ahead of them, we had about 11. So that stayed with the program.
The freshmen,
yeah. I was saying, y'all were freshmen.
I wasn't one of them.
But I know Kimball had to play JV.
We had about 13 guys.
There was a bunch of them that had to play. So they never played freshman ball.
I would say this. I knew they were going to be a special team. I was a year younger than all the guys when they were like in the 8th grade and I was in the 7th. Because they had a class. It was, of course, Pepper, Cooney, Petteway, Charles Mickens, Prentice Milburn. They used to have another dude named Jesse Guy who was with him. If Bubba was been there, I might not have been playing free safety. They had all kinds. They just always, that class had always been top-notch guy. They never lost. So even when they got the ball out, they all played up when they were sophomores and stuff. So the thing is, for me, how do I get on that team? How do I get on that team?
With you guys having so many players went to the NFL, so many guys went to college from this particular group, do you think you guys underachieved by not winning state? Because I know it's hard to win state. It's hard to win anything. The stars got to line up. And you got to stay injury-free.
I would say yes.
I would say yes, too.
We was no doubt. But to our credit, we start losing a bunch of guys deep in the playoffs. A lot of key guys, key position body, Sellers, Kenneth Gidry, Leon Humphrey. I think Riley Luke blew his knee out.
Yeah. But one of the first things is like with the first and second game, Matt dislocated his elbow.
But that was the first. I
as a starting quarterback, so that
I mean, that was the motivation that I don't think anything. I would have played with one leg if I had.
If I could have played in that first week with a dislocated elbow, I would have. I had to wait till week 3 or week 4 and played with a big bionic arm type of thing that Doc and Coach, the other guys came up with.
How was the competition between them? Hold on, and this is why I say because and I might ask you a question. I ain't gonna call no names, but from what I understand, that Kimber was the best running back. He wasn't the best running back.
I was the best cornerback.
Wasn't the best cornerback. But he on the panel.
It is well known. Cooney was that dude, but if Pep get the ball.
Hey, that's all personal. That's all personal on there. That's what you pay varsity for. They say running back, cornerback, you may have right. I was the best cornerback then. That's what it was. I was a defensive guy. Hey, yes, I switched over and learned offense, became the best running back. I was an athlete.
So how and when did you switch over? I mean, like
I was sucking. I came in as a sophomore. It's not even Murder do that. He came in sophomore. Real deal running back. We gonna varsity. I was alternate as a halfback. But during our junior and senior, I think when Pep was starting initially, then I came in.
Took over.
Yeah, when I came, I kind of took over after that. So it was one of those situations. I was kind of like really a defensive player. On the field to a certain degree, and then running back after my junior year, I started playing around more.
Did you bring that defensive mentality to the running back position? Is that part of your style?
That was one of those games. We was a physical team. That's one thing I would say about our team. We just dominated. We knew that we had something. And I'll be honest with you, we were a good team.
It would have been nice to have guys that blocked in front of them.
O-line, yeah. O-line. Offensive line, we had about 300 pounds. 320.
Mike Smith.
So we had a hell of a O-line.
Charles Lewis.
Yeah.
Kenneth Gibb.
What's Greg?
Greg Mason.
Greg Mason.
Oh, yeah.
But y'all played, was it French that eliminated?
Yeah.
Y'all played them twice this year.
I had posted that video up on YouTube. I got a personal call. I ain't gonna call out the person that you can just look at his demeanor right now and demanded me to take that down.
Well, I'm just asking. So y'all played them twice?
No. Westbrook twice.
Oh, Westbrook twice.
Yeah. Westbrook, in my opinion, was a better team. They certainly had more talent. Talent equal. That could definitely rival out.
Way more talent.
Let me ask you this, and this is for the players as well as the coaches. Back when you all was playing as well as when we was playing, it was mandatory. Without a question, you have to play both ways. That good. Right. Nowadays in schools, you don't see that no more. Unless you're just an outstanding player, they need you on both sides. With y'all team, and you hear guys saying they play both ways, I know in the playoffs I've seen bad at free safety sometimes come over.
Oh, if it's red zone, bad
right.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I was a little boy. But my question to that is, with all the talent that you guys had going both ways, why wasn't the outcome different than what occurred?
I think if we go back today, we had to go back to that. I think we should have played both ways. I think Coach Hagen and the rest of the coaches, because we were so deep, decided that hey, we're gonna let some of these young guys play on the defensive side, and we're gonna keep our guys fresh while we're on offense, and we're gonna run people in the dirt.
That game too, we really didn't throw the ball like we had a lot of other games. We ran it, but we really didn't. We weren't as balanced.
They ran eight. I mean, they had 8 in the box.
We just kept.
They had 8 in the box.
We had the receivers that we.
I don't. No disrespect to the coaches, but I really don't think we prepared offensively for that particular defense. They were shooting gaps like nothing, like 3 yards deep in the backfield, man.
I know.
But they had this guy named Willie Williams who had, I guess, a career day. That they wound up going to Miami, whatever. This guy was catching balls off his helmet, all kinds of stuff. So it just that one just wasn't our day. But
that guy had played. He was a fill-in quarterback.
Yeah.
And then the other guy came back. What was his name? Tipping over.
Yeah.
Gilbert. He came back in, and Willie Williams just all he did was ran a go route.
What you think about that?
Fourth, we had a bunch of 4th and 18s. And Fourth and 18, right? And no disrespect to the free safety that was back there. Free safety. None of them were post. Hey, put it up, Otis.
Pepper blames it on you too.
You look at the field. Man, I didn't want to say that, but Pep is here. I had to pull the field. I was beat.
Hey, Coach Jones, you said you were about to say something.
Well, I'm just saying, you think about that team, and Coach Holmes will tell you, they got hot in the playoffs. They finished second, but they were a team that gave us trouble. If you look back at the other team that gave us trouble, they may not remember. They were very similar. Defense was very similar. They were small and could do some things. And I really felt like that was going to be our toughest game. French.
I don't think anybody remembers this, and I bring it up all the time. But I don't think nobody here knows that we didn't touch the ball in the first quarter. Offensively, we did not touch the ball. Well, Dennis Milburn, they punted. We stopped them after about a couple of 3,
and they drives were all
4th and 18.
Like they were made to convert.
They went for it like 3 times and made a couple of 4th downs on 4th and 18. Control. They finally punted. Dennis Milburn caught the ball. Milburn runs left, runs right. Milburn runs left, and he runs right again. And when he come back left the last time, he got popped. Ball come out. We never touched the ball in the first quarter. We never had a chance to get our momentum going or to get a rhythm going offensively. That didn't happen until the 4th quarter when it was too late. We were down by 11 points. I think we lost by 11. We were down by more than that before that. We scored a late touchdown.
The game went by fast.
We did not touch the ball in the first quarter. If anybody go back and find the tape, I'm guaranteeing you this. This offensive running back, this quarterback, we didn't touch the ball in the first quarter.
So having those type of weapons, if they playing that many men in the box, why didn't y'all throw the ball?
You got 2 defensive coaches, and you got that.
Okay, but I was told with Bat being the general, it used to be times they'll send in a play, and Mr. Batway would change the play. So why then he didn't say, hey?
I mean, it was situational when I did stuff like that. But to that point, I think we tried to force feed this guy. I mean, we were so successful during the season, all season long, with Kimball getting 180, 200 yards.
He got 2,000 yards. That's not a good bet.
But he got hurt too.
Kimball got hurt. We tried to force feed the run. Although
Kevin was hurt, Kimball was hurt in that game.
But
they was putting it up.
I think
So, in other words, even though we lost to a good team, even though I thought we should have beat them, and just like anything else, as a coaching staff, we got to motivate the guys. Because number one, they never heard of Beaumont Free.
We just played Madison.
Right.
And West.
Right. We here. So when you're up here, you done won 2 big ball games. Come from behind and won 2 big ball games. You're so high.
I think we're confident.
Right. Because again, we kept saying, guys, those guys, they there for a reason. You can't take anybody light, you know. And I'm not saying we took them light, but we had to stress that. But what eventually happened, they won state. They knocked us off. They didn't lose another game, you know. So we didn't lose to no slouch. And Odessa didn't beat them because it was a tie.
They have a saying out, man. It's a really good one. I don't think we lost it.
Ran out of time.
But again, our 2 key elements, he got wounded, Kimball got wounded. And
my league grew up like
and this is the first half. So that's our top guns. Wow. Hey, they pop guns now. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, I'm gonna go a different direction, man. In the '90s, y'all know, Ball High went on a 10-game losing streak to Lamar. You guys in the early '80s, or pretty much throughout the '80s, and I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all kind of dominated Lamar. Am I right?
Right.
You know,
Not
for the most part.
Not until our junior season.
We lost our sophomore year and we lost our
Lamar had been handling us up until our junior.
Why do y'all think? Because I'm pretty sure everybody.
For the record, I never lost to Lamar.
You never lost. You undefeated. Never lost.
Never lost.
Never ball. Gotcha.
saying that proud.
Right. So why do y'all think you guys were either very competitive with them, or like we said, you know, we dominated in the '80s, but in the '90s, it's just we went on that losing streak. Why do y'all ever think about that? Like.
Pretty much with all freshmen and sophomores, and I told Coach Holmes, I said, don't worry about it. No way lose to Lamar. It ain't gonna happen. So it's just the attitude, but most of the attitude I got was from these dudes through the years. So taking the same mentality, taking the same just hard-nosed attitude. So whether it was debates, AP, and all those guys, even though they're freshmen, when you come in, this is what I need you to do in this type of game.
I really can't answer that 10-game lose. Kind of hurt me.
And think about it.
You
never want to lose, right? Because even when I was playing in high school, you know, here's the thing: if you playing marbles, you're not gonna lose.
Not the Lamar.
Yeah. And so that was our mentality. But as time goes, the generation is different, mentality is different, and some kids don't take it. The game serious like we did. But the only thing about it, though we lost those years, but I guess I can say it was a teaching point. Because a lot of times when we play Lamar early, they'll beat us. Then we roll in the
Right.
It didn't hurt either that a whole bunch of people from Galveston had moved to Lamar and a whole bunch of our coaches.
Exactly, and that's the big. And I was going to bring that up.
I was just gonna say that I was part of that team losing streak, and I was on the other side.
I'm going to get there too, Coach, but since you're going to go ahead and admit that.
But it's funny that we bring that up, and you know, with games, and me and Pepper talked about this, Mr. Edward Benjamin, we talked about this as well. When you do lose a game like that, it takes a toll on you. Well, and I carried this like for years. And one day at school, one of our classmates was spreading the rumor that I fumbled against Lamar 5 times. That's why we lost the game. I did fumble once on the 1-yard line. So for years, I'm 49 years old, and I always felt like I lost that game. But throughout that conversation, Coach Holmes called Coach Drones, and Coach Drones said, Muse, you ought to know better. If Otis would have fumbled more than once, he would have never touched the field.
We had 3 running backs. Yeah, we put some more running backs in there.
So you know that was a lot.
Yeah, so it was a lot. So I did carry that. It started in '91 when we lost to Lamar. Then they lose year after year after year. And I felt like I cast that burden.
Yeah, because we're the infamous class to start the losing streak.
But I already said that. You ain't have to.
That was our first time ever losing to Lamar from 8th grade all the way. Yeah. And I mean, it was just one of the things that you kind of, expected to beat them. Right. But also, too, we were missing Scooter, MD. And I only think I played that game up that. But I mean, it's a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
Talk about winning state.
I think that dynamic changed too when they started switching the mark from that game
To the first.
That first game.
Besides your season.
The whole season. Like you played the mark the first game of the season and you expect to beat them, and they might beat you 32-0 or whatever.
So Kevin, why would that be a factor though? Because is that a Galveston thing? Because we take too long, we're not prepared, we don't work it like what?
Building momentum against a rival. A factor, I think. I mean, playing the rival the first game of the season, we don't know what this team has, what that team has.
See,
I know we all play on the same day, so we all got to be prepared the same way, prepared for the same night. But it's just something about playing your rival that first game of the season that it never said well with me.
Well, I'm gonna agree with you and disagree with you on that one. Even though our first game wasn't a first game, it was a scrimmage. But in my heart, I honestly think when Coach Jones and Coach Holmes picked what's that first game we played? That's who they beat our ass.
Westfield. Oh man,
I think they scheduled that game knowing that they're gonna get their butts whipped. It's gonna open their eyes.
And they went like 1-9 that year or something.
Was on the run. After that, we was on the run.
I'm glad you said that. Westbrook, Ryan, the game we was loaded. The first three games was always
we had the Grimes, we had the Port Arthur
Jackson brought you guys to the reality.
That's crazy. You got Ryan Westbrook and
But during that thing, our philosophy as a coaching staff, head coach, was you want to play stiff competition. Because, get you ready for the games that really. So that's why we always do
a lot of times with our team, junior and senior, we might not win the first three.
Exactly.
Non-district games, and we take off in the district.
That's the thing. You look at like the Port. The Port would play Pasadena, another Pasadena, and they play. They 3-0. Running back got 600-700 yards. And then they come in there and we beat them. Martin would beat them. I don't believe in that. When I went to MacArthur, they said, Coach, we need to play some competition. I said, you better be careful what you ask for. They looked up and we played Coach Holmes, we played Conroe, we played Klein College. Klein College had the whole backfield with D1. They put 40 and 50 on it. But those teams came on and we ended up going to the playoffs.
Gotcha already. 3 times in a row that nobody else had ever done in 10 years. But, so even I go to Lamar, we were never 10-0 at the end of the season. We won state championship. We played 3 straight state championships, and none of those teams were 10-0. Matter of fact, one of them, if they had to name 3 teams to go to the playoffs, we just sit at home. Second year I was at Lamar. If they don't go to 3 teams in the playoffs, we finish 3rd.
Marcus Holiday and back to that 95 team.
So
that 95 team finished 3rd. Now, to their credit, they went on a nice little run. They went on a nice little run like something like for my face. Right? First, I think Frisk came out of the district. Out of the 6-4. And they ran the table. Yeah. 6-4, it's gonna give you a draw of some big hot seed, and they fought their way through it, man. And
if you look at Fritz that year, we played Deer Park, the Battle. We played Westbrook, a Battle. We played Madison, a Battle. They were beating people. Fritz was beating people 48-6. They secondary. They. Second team was in the game second half.
I don't know.
We had to play 4 quarters.
Came up with defensively with that 8-man front. They were shooting gaps like I never thought. But we had big offensive linemen tough guys in the other front. It was tough. We started getting together late 3rd, early 4th quarter. But like I said, man, we didn't lose that game. We ran out of time. But we never touched that ball in the first quarter.
That was a funny game. So I remember as a defensive player, I just kept on saying, "Oh man, we're gonna get it going. We're gonna get it going." He got bad way.
We all felt that. We all felt that.
Because we're looking at their line is up. You got 185-pound guys on the side. No, we're gonna go to work on the big man. We're gonna get it going.
Get us a touchdown or 2. Get us a turnover. Get us a stop.
Real quick, guys, we got less than 2 minutes. But all y'all grew up in Galveston. How did growing up in Galveston affect you mentally? As far as creating a mental toughness and transferring that onto the field. I'll start with you, Pep.
About me going on both sides, my family was from Lamar. Mark and Galveston were different. Lamar was always whining, they exaggerated, they put like Galveston.
Yeah.
Every time I came to Galveston, and we go to represent cemetery and everything else, we had to fight. They didn't do that. And they'll go run and get the big cousin and everything. We had to set them straight. So I was glad that I was able to be around Kimberly that way when I was young. I didn't want to go to one. Yeah, I'm from Galveston.
Back.
Oh, those guys y'all had in there before was my motivating factor. The class of 82 basketball team, they went to state, they laid down the blueprint on what it is and what it takes to get to the championship. Coach Berry and those guys with the team. Kenneth Wicks, who was in there, Hal Jordan. We got a lot of guys that's not here right now. Oscar Wright, John Chaney, man. James Petteway, Carl Hilton. That team was stacked. Somewhat like our team was stacked at all positions. And I had always wanted to be in the position that they were going to stay and having our field, our body, being there and rooting for us, man. And those times, man, those pep rallies leading up to those games, Miss Alice Martinez and Felicia Floyd, man, they laid down the foundation for us to have a good support group of people every week. Yeah. And it was fun, man. It was fun going to school. It was fun getting ready for a game on Friday night, Saturday night. Yeah. And I think, I gotta say this, man. We played that game like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. The Beaumont Princeton. We had normally we would have a pregame meal at 4 o'clock. We had a pregame meal like 7. We played that game at 11 o'clock in the morning, man. Yeah. That's practice time. Yeah. But
and that just messes up your preparation rhythm.
I mean, excuses. These are justifications.
But I think that is a big factor, though, man. You know, yeah.
That's a championship game.
Yeah. I never even thought about it. Trying to clean it up at the end.
They championship game.
Yeah. And
so for me, it was just like this. Growing up, I didn't even realize this till like 2007 or something like that. They didn't go 2000. Every game was all high. The city would be shut down. You know what I mean? Pretty much the guys that played back in the day. For me, it was those type of guys that made me want to be proud and make me all high. That opportunity to do something special. We played it. We started back then. Even back in the league, growing up, playing with the Rebels, all the living sports. Volunteers. Volunteers, you know, we played together. So that's what made us unique and special, man. We had a bunch of guys that love football. You know, like some people talking about love the game. Yeah. I slept with football on my arm every night. I was like, no PlayStation about 15, 16, 18 years old. And I stopped sleeping with football on my arm. So just a tradition of loving the game. You know, a lot of guys in that era, we love to play football. We played sandline football. We went outside play. We was outside all day. We couldn't come inside. Yeah, we were allowed to come in probably once or twice. The door got closed. It's open. And then, one last thing. So our group, like I said, we truly cared about each other. Everybody got baptized. Everybody went to church. Yeah, we ended up going to church. All that stuff together. I mean, as a team, we did. There wasn't no separation as white, black, this, whatever. We got together and we did what we did. And that's one thing.
And those are the factors outside of the talent. Those are the intangibles that make a championship team. Like, you know, going to church together, you know, y'all grew up together, and you have a certain trust with one another, too. Todd?
I'm a fan of counseling. I grew up going to crack meet, stadium watching Flash, Charles Alexander, all these dudes. Then on Friday night in Galveston, watching Donkey run the ball, Raymond, all these guys. Plus, I'm 1 year younger than all of them, so I've been tracking these dudes since Little League. How do I get on it? I don't want everybody saying my name was cool. I don't want everybody saying my name was bad. I switched my name, my number when I was in the 9th grade, number 10, because Petteway was number 10. So I'm trying to do everything I can. Oh, I want to play like Pep. Oh, I want to be like Bubba. Oh, I want to be like Frank, Charles Mickey. So it's just having that pride and seeing all of these great Galveston legends. I don't think you can really get away from it. I didn't really realize it until I went to school in Louisiana. And I'd see all these guys who all state and 5 this and whatever. I said, man, I can bring my high school up here right now with beach out breaks on. Beach out breaks off of every year, every team. Then when I got to the NFL, it's the same thing. Guys were like, man, what y'all dudes in Galveston doing? I said, hey, we need. It's just you in the culture and don't even know it. You don't even know how great the culture was.
Before we go, like I told the last guys, man, because I grew up watching them, with my uncles. Then have 2 of my uncles on the panel, and all y'all basically raised me. Toy right up the street from me. Used to harass me when I'm walking to my grandmother's house. When I first put on number 2, hearing Coach Drone saying, you know who used to wear that number, what you got to live up to. Petteway playing baseball, coming and working with me, trying to hit left-handed when Coach Keith said I couldn't hit the curveball.
Yeah, you couldn't either.
I couldn't. But I just told him that. You didn't have to tell him that.
Yeah.
And then my uncle up there teaching me how to run on the sand and what I need to do to get fast and stuff like that. And when we talk about the two-way players, I was a guy playing nose guard, linebacker, running back, quarterback, and stuff like that. So I really looked up to you all, man. And it's a commitment to you all because I love every last one of y'all. To the coaches, they was like, still are like father figures. I mean, legends, getting on us. I remember when I quit, I was on JV. Coach Drones come down to the locker room telling me I ain't quitting. You're going to get your butt back on the field. And I'm telling him, well, they know every play when I'm running. He say, I'm going to go down there and tell them the next play that you're going to run. And just stuff like that. It goes back to what y'all saying, the motivational factor coming under that family tree. But before I let y'all go, the same thing I gave the coaches. If you had the name.
Hold on, no, before you do that. Let Coach say this.
Okay.
And then get it.
I was at Lamar. I got asked the question all the time. What's the difference? Why so many kids from Galveston go on to college? I truly believe in my heart. I said, it's the way we treat it. I said, because I saw Ronnie Johnson, they talk about him throwing pants in the coach's face because it had a little hole that he didn't like. Or they hold practice up because Ronnie Johnson was late. I said, Kimmel could have been late if he wanted to. He didn't hold no practice. He'll miss practice. He got that paddle put on his butt.
Got that paddle.
Reggie Ballard, I talked to him one day. He said, he was talking to his wife. He said, I can't remember the last time I got whipped. I didn't get you whipped. Then he said, I snapped. He said, you were the last one. But again, look at that. He calls me every time. He in high school getting ready to get a kidney transplant. I'm FaceTime. I'm the last one to put a paddle on me. Right. Because they knew, y'all knew, we care.
It's the relationship that y'all made with us.
We up there in that gym, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. We over at the field as my wife wondered, what y'all got y'all been through with practice? Sitting there talking. But, so when y'all left and went to college and a coach yelled at you, you weren't ready. You stuck it out. So you've been through that stuff. We taught expectations. I laughed when he said, I remember I was working the clock one day and I heard some noise back over there and I'm working the clock and basketball. And I looked, I said, turn like that. He turned it because I thought, I don't care if it's basketball, but you represent me as one of our players. That's not the way we're going to act. And, so I grew up that way because I played with one of the best in the state. But when he went to college, he did what he wanted. And it hurt the team. And I said, that would never happen to a team. I know you got to run out of time, but I know Vernon Crawford. Yeah. So Vernon was doing all this same thing one day. I snapped on him. Yeah. He jumped in there. And he and I became friends. I'm not going to let you do that. You got too much talent. I'm failing you if I let you act crazy and do that kind of stuff because you got a chance to go do something. And you got to represent your family.
We don't want the discipline, but we want the discipline.
And you're crazy to talk about discipline. Here we grown men, we playing in the kickball tournament. Coach Drones and Coach Holmes come out to the game, and we G-ball, kickball. We walking off the field. Don't you know he whistled? And we knew that whistle. Everybody started joining. Grown men.
As soon as you hit that field, boy. Better
Well,
not be
man-
walking on that field.
Well, man, we definitely appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day, away from your families, come out, man, and kind of support what we trying to do. Like I said, I know Larry is gonna, use some of the footage and whatnot for some other things. I've already did your interview, so we got plenty from that. And man,
Coach
again,
Holmes, too.
you already got Coach Holmes. Okay, so again, man, like I said, we appreciate it. Todd, help y'all hang around, man. We got the track segment coming up.
Can I put that last question on, or we ain't got time?
Yeah,
You use that
we
up to
15
kickball
minutes
for
over,
it.
but they're special, man.
So,
Yeah.
But again, man, we appreciate it.
All right, we back now. Upper room with members of the 80s ball high track team. We starting at 83 up through 87. Before we go any further, man, starting right to left, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, what year you came out.
My name is Jerome Stinson, senior, and I attend Ball High 1983-84 season, track and field, and I'm glad to be here today.
And also talk about which events that you participated in.
Okay, in track and field, I also partake in the 100 meters, 200 meters, 4x1, 4x4, long jump, and 200 meters as well.
Man, if your name's Stinson, you just got to be able to run.
It's in the blood.
Todd Scott, 4x100 specialist. This dude conned me into being a national champion and holding a record for 30 years.
Go
My way, Derek Long, I was, you can say, a natural all-around scrubber.
No, you can't stop like that.
The fastest man alive.
Come on, man. You got to give us more.
I think you still hold it.
Hold it right.
Absolutely.
And I was blessed and fortunate enough to hold a national high school record.
Well over 25.
And then when I left, high school, the year I graduated, I was the fastest high school ball in the world.
What was the time?
10-13.
Has it been broken?
Finally got broken. And actually, the first cat that literally broke it was Jeff Dennis, called cat in high school.
Right.
He had a suspicion of performing Hassan drugs and Emmanuel Samuels from Oklahoma. That was crazy because he just ran 10.5, then 2 weeks later, ran 10.08.
Where'd you run that time at? Where were you at?
Oh, I was in Maryland.
Okay.
I was in Maryland. Matter of fact, actually, that was a beautiful night because same day, I set the national high school record in that bias. So that for me was not.
You're not gonna mention the Junior Olympics? You being in Greece? You from Galveston or Greece? You from Galveston or in Greece? I ain't talking about the movie Grease. I'm talking about Greece.
Yeah, man, you being biased.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. I ain't never been to Greece.
100 and 200 and 4x1.
Reggie Broussard, 86-87. A high jump, long jump, ran the quarter and the 4x4.
And before the king go on, man, I would like to say thanks to all of y'all that's showing up on the panel. But when I had reached out to Broussard about coming to the show, he was going to do a video segment for us. And I'm going to say on a Monday, I hit him up on a Monday. Well, that Tuesday, he was like, scratch that.
I won't miss it.
I really appreciate that, man.
That's beautiful.
All right, man. So we know that, we talk to the basketball team, the football team, but when you talk track, that's what Galveston is known for.
National.
Anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go. I remember having a guy tell me that you're the reason we were so fast that we only practice in the sand. I remember going to college and running one track meet and seeing a guy that ran for Stephen F. Austin, and they were in all of them. And I said, man, catch that dude every week.
Well, tell me the full story when you got the football players right there.
We beat the track 4x1.
And I didn't even run track.
So, and I actually went out and made me quit because I was like, I can get some dudes from the crib. We can run 3 seconds right now, in high school. So, but anyway, enough about that. I mean, so I said that to say this. It's always hotly debated who was the best. Now, we give it up there. He's best.
I was going to say, debate about who.
Keep it real.
It ain't no debate. 30 years. National record. Ain't no debate.
What did y'all
40.1, 2 bad exchanges. Period.
Oh, what did Wharton run?
Nowhere close to that.
They went 40.2, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. No. Dude, we held a record for 30 years.
No, I'm just saying. They went 40.2. We went 40.4 in the blame one.
Okay.
Did y'all
have a defensive end running your second leg?
We had an alternate running the first leg. and then another thing with that, probably the fastest dude in the school didn't even run. That was Cedric Gonzalez.
That was usually the case. I remember saying.
Yeah, he probably the fastest dude in the school. He didn't even run. But, yeah. I mean, but my point is, y'all have spanned, a couple of years starting in 83 all the way up to 86. What made y'all great?
Now, on senior year, junior year, President Valley senior year, Pepper junior year, senior. On paper, literally, on paper, that year, Coach Curry had us be the first high school ever to break point flat. Clean Ellison, y'all remember that? Point flat. On paper, that year, Galveston Ball should have been the first week of the but the fastest.
Yeah, 4 people running on the team. This year we win 10-3, 1-2-3, all of the
But what happened?
Injuries. Hamstring and shin splints.
Running that cinder track.
Right.
I it takes so much.
We went 10-31, 10-31, something, and it was all of us ran like a 10-3. There was a photo field. That's unheard of in history.
I have a question. What I did not understand, how we have one of the fastest men in the world, and at one point in time, you wasn't even on the varsity track team, was you?
Yeah.
But I thought they had to vote you to own the...
Well, this is what it was. I was running JV, and this young man still mad at me today. That's Wayne.
Pat Daddy Wayne.
Daddy Wayne.
Yes, sir.
All right, we just got through with this. All drawn up, all the way in there and voted. Young man
just set the record then on JV. That'll never be broken.
And his name was mentioned. Patrick Moses was mad at me. Years later, I finally told him, I didn't ask Coach Curry, I didn't vote your class.
Right. But why did it have to be a vote if you one of the fastest?
I was a freshman.
Oh, okay.
I was a freshman.
Oh, so freshmen couldn't run varsity?
It's going to be out of me and him that was
me being a freshman, they felt I couldn't handle the challenge.
Right. Okay.
Freshman. And y'all took a vote. Thanks to the ones who believed in me. I got out there. Hey.
The rest was it. But you asked the question, well, what made us so good? Coach Curry.
I was going to say
Coach Curry, Coach Dinky, and us as individuals. Right. As we all know, we were raised up under we thing.
Yeah.
We brought each other on.
Right.
We all hurt, we all threw up, we all cried together. Right. But no one person bigger than none of us out.
Everybody got shin splints. So we all hurt. Everybody iced somebody, everybody.
And we never made fun of a slower person. No. Right. Somebody was slow, we tell them no, you can front. But we did. We always put the slowest person in front of every schedule we had to run. Everybody, we always literally stuck the slowest person up. So we based ourselves behind the slower person until Coach Curry, Coach D,
So a coach didn't have to tell y'all that. That's something y'all did on y'all own.
Walking around with that bat taught us a lot of things. That's what we walked around the field with.
Right. I would tell you this though. Ball has history from. I mean, if you go from dude, Lightfoot, Flash, and all of those dudes to. Okay, Brent, Vince Kerrville, all those cats, Ellison Stinson, all those. I mean, you had such a rich history that and tradition that predated you. You like I was a football player. And I was a guy. I absolutely was never gonna run track. I was one of the fastest dudes in school, but would never run because guys said if you run track, Kerrville's gonna kill you. Derek talked me out to come out. He said, T, man, if you just give me the stick, bro, it's gonna be like when we was in middle school in 8th grade. Man, nobody can beat us. I was like, okay, I did it. I did it for him. Now I'm a competitor.
And that leads to my question. You know, track is a sport where you gotta be self-disciplined. You gotta have a work ethic. Ain't everybody handle it. So what made you guys want to run track? Because not always the best athletes or the fastest people run track.
Because us as a youth.
Absolutely.
And it started at Central Middle School. Coach Mays. Coach Mays, if you didn't have any talent, Coach Mays knew how to take you and build your confidence in a way that he wasn't gonna let you quit. You know, he didn't take no for an excuse. For an answer. So he's gonna bring you in, he's gonna surround you with good athletes. And then in your mind, it's up to you to go and work on your skills and those things that you were lacking in. By the end of the year, you was a top-notch athlete. And it started with Coach Mays, and then Coach Mays would send a full-blown All-American track team to Ball High. To Coach Kerr.
So how was it coming into that, knowing the expectations that y'all had to live up to? What came across before you? I mean, but you think about your brother, you think about Vince.
Absolutely.
I mean, how was that?
The guys that were before us, like Flash and
Charles Alexander,
Lightfoot, Charles Alexander, those guys set the way for everybody that came to wanted to run for Coach Kerrville.
Right.
You had to first of all ask yourself, is this what I want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, because the training that's getting ready to come up on you is gonna let you know whether or not if this is for you. And then once everybody come together and build each other up, then we move forward and train and go from there.
Y'all already know
Yes,
the
sir.
object
And it went for me.
The object of a winning team is a great league.
Absolutely.
Coach Kerrville, Coach Kerrville didn't play favorites with now one of them.
Right.
That's tough.
If you ever met this young man, you had the pleasure of meeting, that young man didn't play favorites.
Right.
I ran
He was
one
like,
year.
you, meet everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll tell you, mom and your dad what it is.
I ran 1 year, but I give Coach Kerrville a lot of credit for the tenacity that I developed that propelled me to the NFL. That 1 year with him and the toughness, the work ethic, but and also knowing how to perform when the cameras are on. Because during that year with him, all of the track meets are big. So when we go to TSU relays, this boy beat Carl Lewis at the track meet. So it's big every time we show up. When we get there, so you don't want to, you got to be able to show up on the stage and perform. Right. And it's just growing. It was a different thing.
I got a question for the 87 track. I think Broussard, you're the only one that was on there. You guys y'all went to Austin and walked in that stadium with 4 people. Is that right?
That's right. No relay.
No relay. What was the mindset? Did you guys really go in thinking, look here, man, we're going to win state? I mean, was it a surprise? Like, there's no what, that's unheard of.
Right. Yeah. So what Coach Kerrville will do,
strategy.
He was strategizing before every meeting. Yeah. And he was saying, this is what I need you to do.
I need these points.
And we had Billy Sims that was going to win the distance.
And the shot. That's 20.
Drake Reese was going to win
the 100 and 200. That's 20. I'm counting.
Coach Kerrville told
me 10.
I just need some points for you.
Give me 10.
Just need any points.
Now he's high jump and long jump, so he got 2 shots. Not according to the strategy.
He's wrong as outside talk. I went to the track team in 2009, and they told me, man, everybody else got 30 to 40 people. I said, man, biggest team Coach Kerrville ever had was 15. I said, all during my time, we had 12.
Listen, we had 10. We set the record for the most points in the history of Texas.
And I explained to them what it was. We did not mind running multiple.
No. Well, you know that.
And Coach Kerrville, mindset was anybody love to come in last. How many people told me, we ain't think y'all was coming. Damn! Because
they knew when that purple and gold showed up, it's business. And that comes from Coach Kerrville. Thinking that all race who come around, still us, and his daddy used to come out there as well. That's what was still him. He didn't fear nobody without that bus.
But it's funny you say that. I remember one time when me and you was talking, D. Florence, that you said like Coach Kerrville, once you was on the track team, there wasn't no such thing as quitting.
No.
I
quit 3 times.
Look at him. But one thing about Coach Kerrville, and we all know, if you walk off that, if you walk through them gates doing his practice, never ever represent purple gold. Coach Kerrville.
Yeah.
As a quitter,
Coach Kerrville, he was so respected throughout probably the nation, but definitely within Texas. And I remember my freshman year, and I was telling Derek, a lot of people don't know. At Rice, the coach from Rice, because we didn't have a high jump coach. But Coach Kerrville's connection with the coach at Rice, after my event that year, he said, "Want to learn how to jump?" Stood with me, stayed there with me for about an hour after the event was over, showed me the technique. Showed me all the steps and how to do it.
Now, Coach Kerrville was a great technician, too. You got to understand something. He had these great teams with a lot of talent, but all these guys know how to run. Now, he called it running pretty. He'll say, listen, I'm not taking no donkeys to the Kentucky Derby. So you're going to have to learn how to run. So just the technique, but training in the same.
Absolutely.
Right.
In the 70s and the 80s, who was doing it? I mean, I ain't seen it till you saw that with Rocky. But you know, now you see NFL teams, they doing all this. He's like, man, Coach Kerrville was
already had the blueprint.
He already had it, man. He just knew.
Coach Kerrville, he was big on technique.
Yeah,
But you know the 100 was named after him in TSU. It's Kramer Kerrville.
Right.
100 meters.
Wow. You know, back in the day, man, the track team to me was just as popular as the football team and the basketball team. And you know, today there's less interest in track. Why do y'all think that?
Track is hard.
It is.
Track is hard.
Honestly, on parents. Parents. Why? It's new generation parents don't want their kids hurt.
Oh yeah.
Ain't no such thing. Come home, they tell your mama you grew up. Now y'all play sports. We all knew what's the slogan? No pain, no gain. So we didn't mind. Now the horses, we didn't mind.
Throwing up.
And we all knew we could come home and tell our mama our coach what our mama tell you. I don't want new generation of parents.
Toughness.
This ain't what it is.
I have an athletic question pertaining to you track runners. When we was in school, Coach Kerrville would not let us talk to the girls when it was track season.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But my question to this is, if you are sexually involved, active, having sex, it hampers your...
That's just a mind thing.
Yeah.
Oh, so all these years, I'm
a witness. That's not
true. I thought that all my life.
That's not true. That ain't true.
Coach Kerrville's mindset was, if you really call yourself being serious with Coach Kerrville, that's a distraction.
Right.
Because you're not going to come out there and do with me. Why? You don't worry about what she doing.
Right.
You don't understand where she is.
But I thought it like you, because you losing energy. Hey, man, I'm saying, all these years, I thought
that's a myth.
I thought you couldn't talk to them. Could we talk to the girl?
No. That's about women. That's everybody.
Let me ask this, man. You know, we're a little pressed for time, man. Y'all ran when Texas was a hotbed for track.
Right.
Yes. Toughest teams or individuals that y'all came up with?
Well,
the boy beat Michael Johnson.
Well, to be honest, when we was in
Carl Lewis.
To be honest, we was in Dallas. It was always Dallas versus
Dallas.
Houston versus Galveston. Because we never allowed them to lump us with Houston. No, we represent Galveston.
Right.
So our competition, Forsbrook, Sterling.
Yes.
Forsbrook, Houston, Sterling, Yates. Houston. Dallas area, Carter.
South Oak Cliff. Fort Worth Wide.
But we always represented Galveston. And us representing Galveston, we would just refuse to lose.
Right.
And you bring up a good point, Derek, about the pride that Galveston has. We don't want to be lumped in with Houston.
At all.
No, that's totally different. No, it's not the Houston area.
I tell people that when they try to say Galveston County. No, that's a whole totally different thing.
Yeah, you tied us in with we from the island.
Right.
Exactly. I have a question too. This is gonna be my last one before we close. I heard we had our own Deion Sanders before Deion Sanders was around. I heard we had a Stinson that ran the fastest 40 time, but it wasn't calculated. That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. Wow. And then him and as a matter of fact, both of them. Absolutely. So we had our own Deion.
Yes. And those two guys finished first and second. Elliston was a freshman.
Yes.
And they went 1-2 in the state meet.
Yes.
And I think at one time Elliston was the fastest freshman in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he may have clocked something like 4.2 as a freshman. And he was running, He was running, And Vincent Kerrville, I mean, I give respect and tip my hat to all of those guys. Elliston Stinson, Vincent Kerrville, Gregory Ebner, Thomas Lightfoot. All of these guys, like I say, paved the way for all of us to come in and be a part of a legacy that we just would not fail.
And
we appreciate that. Vincent Kerrville.
First high school ever to split and break 22nd flat.
Absolutely.
4x2.
Absolutely.
And probably the reason why we were so good is because that island was so small.
Right.
And guys like Stinson and all the guys that came before me, they kind of, when I showed up, they took me on their wing.
They're going to be a track.
Yeah. Let me show you how to long jump. Let me show you how I do it.
Yes. But you see, though, and that's what hurts me with our hometown now. It was an honor seeing Todd come back, working out at the field house. When he could have been working out at college, when he was in the NFL, he could have been working out in Minnesota, but he came back. You coming to the field, working out. Yeah. You know, all of you guys. And then when we seeing that you out on the field, I know that I have a chance of making it because of them. They inspired us. But and nothing to the guys that's making it and doing good, but you don't see that anymore.
Right. Well, this generation is selfish.
It's different too. And you don't have high schools that have traditions and history like that. You know, I look at my son in Manville. They've had a lot of success, but you know, it's totally different. The way I talk about Galveston, I talk about the decades of great Galveston athletes that won't ever be, may not ever see that again.
And of course, everybody want to know. There ain't no question for track and field. Folks, the greatest track. Really, every era had their time.
Absolutely, yes,
right.
And I like to say this. You know, when you think of Little Olympics, everybody look forward to Little Olympics. Jesse Owens. These were the things that fed into us becoming good athletes.
Yes.
And not only did Galveston was blessed with maybe one or two, and then you skip 5 years, we had sprinters every year. We breed sprinters. And it came from the elementary schools, like people like Coach Sims at Carver Elementary, and then you had Rosenberg, Goliad, and Alamo.
Yes, yeah.
And then when all of us had a chance to come together and we met up at Wise and Central.
Wise and Austin.
All we could do was just feed off each other's talent, and it made us great.
I don't know if you remember this, Derek, but I was in the 7th grade and I did good in the quarter. And Coach Kerrville had me go work with you, and you gave me some, because I had some old Kmart, some big ass shoes. And Derek went to the locker room, and you brought me out some Asics, some running shoes. And you worked with me, man. But it just goes back to what y'all was saying about, you know, the guys coming back, practicing and stuff like that. You know, and it inspires some young guys. You know, I'm like, shoot, I bragged to everybody, man. I worked out with Derek Flores.
You know what you're saying that I want to just add this in. I give much respect to Derek Florence because I had a chance to run with Derek, which Derek held the record for almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just want to say we went 1, 2, 3 in 100 meters, but Derek was hurt.
Right.
Derek was hurt and won the 100 meters in district.
He got out. He can't got.
I was nowhere near hurt. I was well, and I got second.
Let
the record speak for itself. I give Derek Florence all due respect with his sprinting ability throughout the years of Galveston.
I tell people this all the only guy I ever saw pushing won 4 or 6 gold medals, and he lost that day, and that's Michael Johnson. If anybody ever pushed him, I wonder what he would run. Because it was always easy. If somebody actually was on him, I don't know. I wonder what he could run.
Yeah.
Man, again, like we told everybody else, man, and I wish we had more time, especially with this, because they'll tell y'all, I can roll off stuff off my head about y'all from, what I say, man, that's my family right there. So they came and supported me when I ran, when I didn't even want to run.
Right.
So, but we appreciate y'all, man, taking time, out your day.
Absolutely.
Especially, man, you flying in. Like I say, Larry he's gonna use some of this. We got some other things coming. He might contact some of y'all individually, get some more interviews or whatnot. But
let me talk about this when I missed the last one.
Well, he was mad. He was mad about that.
Need, honestly, to do try to get a bigger venue, and just like I told you, state honor coach Tommy Curve here.
Oh man,
Say
call. Listen,
right, yeah.
There's nobody you could call who's been touched by him that wouldn't come. Because I tell you, no matter where I was at, if you called me, I'd come.
Y'all meet,
right?
Right.
Charles Alexander,
come down. Y'all meet yesterday.
Daryl Smith.
Oh, hey. But it goes back to what you gentlemen said though. Like when we reached out to y'all, there wasn't no question. I know I talk to Derek all the time. T. Scott is like another uncle. He jumped my butt when he came in talking about, man, what makes you think I ain't gonna reply back to that? I did hit you up though. And then with my Uncle Pep, if it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't have been able to get in contact with a lot of you guys.
Also, the women.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah. The women. So the young ladies from Gals involved? Yes.
I reached out. It was a struggle to get them in, but I will be doing individual interviews. So they will be on.
Who you reached out to? But I can get one.
Janine, I reached out to that 92 state track team.
You need to get some Benita.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
like I said, so there's a lot more interviews that I got to do. I wanted to kind of highlight the teams that went far, and that's what we're doing with this podcast. Right. I'm going to pull some footage, put it in the documentary. But like you said, and it's so much rich history. Yeah. The documentary has been 2 months too long. I'm going to go ahead and let the King go and close us out.
Man. Like I said, man, we appreciate it. We're going to get back. We're going to take pictures, right?
Yeah.
So, like I say, man, we definitely appreciate you taking the time, man, driving up here and flying in and everything, man. We appreciate it. Like I say, when we do get the documentary done, we'll let y'all check it out first, man. It's gonna be something.
And then my thing is like a reunion.
All right, man, we back. We are now here with members of the 94, 95 football and basketball team. Arguably the best team in the history of Ball High.
It must not be true.
Hold
It
on.
must not be true.
Oh, yeah, you asked the question.
Yeah.
The best team, Ball High.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
Coach.
Okay.
You ain't been take away Coach Shine.
Okay. Hey, man. I asked y'all a question, y'all. Let's speak up. Well, look, we done had the coaches on before, so they know. Well, won't y'all introduce yourselves? Tell us what you did for us, football, basketball, and so on. Go ahead.
First team on this. Shot, 3 years later in basketball, 3 years later, started both All American, All UCLA, All State, All District. Kenneth Hill, class of 95 and a half. Played 3 years of varsity basketball. Well, 2 years of varsity basketball, 3 years in football. And that's it. Everything else.
All right, man. So we've had different classes come on, and of course, everyone's gonna say that they were the best. So you hear Coach Holmes just said 69 was the best, and earlier, 84 team said that they were the best. What lets you make a stake to that claim?
Personally, I can't make it. My senior year was my class 95. I didn't play my first game. My senior year, I was paralyzed. So pretty much I was out for the entire season. So for me, my best season was 93, 94. But we didn't give up a touchdown in the entire district. We gave up 3 points the entire year into the playoffs. So that year in itself was my final year. And but those guys from 95 that were my classmates, they went through a big time struggle. They showed perseverance in that struggle. So I can't take nothing away from them without me. Exactly, without me being.
Are we starting off with, we're going to go ahead and just do the football first and then go to basketball?
That'll be fine.
Just keep it going. Okay. Kenny White?
It ain't no statement that you can make that you was the best because there was no. We started out 0-4, 94. We started out 0-4, man. So what team started out 0-4 and end up a penetration from the state championship? That's their claim to itself. You know what I'm saying? What kind of team that was. However, you had a bunch of athletes that really didn't speak together as a cohesive unit until our 5th game coach was. That's when we came together as a unit. So, but every team before us, hey, they laid the groundwork. They gave us a blueprint. So as far as that, that's how I feel about it. We the best. I'm gonna say it. And then you gotta put it in perspective too. We the best. That when I went down, they had about 3 or 4 different people play free safety. For real, they were trying to figure it out. And then they figured it out by putting Petteway, Mr. Everything, at free safety. And if you put the quarterback on defense at safety, then you have a better situation. So initially when I got hurt, they played Victor Hank, Stephen Zeke, Mike Kerrville.
So where were you at first?
This is how I started out. Coach Holmes, that year, he told me, well, I'm going to put you in a position where I think you're going to end up playing when you coach. So, yeah, started him off at free. Me and LaMurphy at corner.
great showing games, which, you know, was cool. But then when seasons went down, I thought I was going to end up at free safety because that's what I played the year before. You know what I'm saying? But they brought in Mike Kirby, Stephen G, and then Victor Hanks also had some plays back there.
You ended up with 9 interceptions?
It was 7. So, it was 7, but I had 6 before what? Like the third game?
Coach Holmes, why did it take 5 games? And you're a great coach because you coached me and all that. But why did it take 5 games to figure out that, hey, we need Kenny Hill at free safety spot?
Well, in other words, that's why you play non-district ball games. You play non-district ball games, you still experiment. Okay. So now once we realized after 4 ball games, for us to be successful defensively, we had to make a move. And we felt that in order to be good, you want the best 11 people on football out there. And so after experimenting, we realized for us to be successful, be pretty decent in the secondary by moving Kenny.
And, you know, it's funny that you say that because, you know, myself and the legend, we are coaches too. But coming from under you guys, you know, because sometimes you may come to a game and see something that the way I coach, you be like, that sound like me. I didn't have players that when I coach AAU basketball, sound like Coach Will, and you need to calm down. You're going to have a heart attack. But my thing is, we came up through a winning tradition, and it'll be hard for me to go 5 games getting my butt whipped to be able to figure out the change. And as great as a coach you are, was it because, you know, the first 5 games, non-district games, you wasn't worrying about it? You just trying to put the puzzles in place to see who's going to...
Okay, you want to win every ball game.
Right.
But number one has always been our philosophy with 84 and 85 teams. We want to play good competition. And so, in other words, we kind of stack who the people play. In other words, if we win, fine. If we lose, fine. It's not the end of the world. Because those games really don't mean anything.
Right.
The games that really count are the district ball games. So that's what we're preparing ourselves to be successful. That's why you do a lot of experimental. You move kids in different positions. And then when you find out what is just like you're mixing the cake. And when you put all your ingredients together. And so in other words, after we find out the right ingredients to be successful, that's what we saw.
The penetration rule, in my opinion, affected Galveston ball more than anybody in our area. I mean, of course, I don't have the stats for everybody else in the state. When you guys lost that game, I mean, obviously it stung, but in your heart of hearts, do y'all feel like y'all were the best team in the state?
Well, being honest, we felt that we was the best team. In other words, all night, Westlake didn't stop John Boy. We had one of the top running back in the country. And, you know, we felt that with the ball in his hand, that we were going to be successful. But you never second guess yourself. But you never know if that was the right call, the wrong call. But as me as a coach, the ball would have been in 100. Hand at a crucial situation. Right. And then we needed a first down in order to go past the penetration. And then we got the first down when we fumbled the football.
Did the team that beat y'all on penetration, did they win state? I can't remember.
John Tyler.
Yeah, I was very invested in the season. I thought I was going to come back.
Yeah.
And that in itself was, to be fair to the coaches, I kept saying that I'll be able to come back next week. And next week, to the point where I actually got approved to go play, remember? Because I came out there and I went to the doctor. I went to a new doctor. And I went to the new doctor, had my left arm, which was dead, like no movement, in my pocket. I went to a new doctor and got released because I showed him my right arm. So I got released to play. I came out there, and the first thing Coach Zeke did was threw the ball to my left side. He threw it to my left side, and I did this. Don't lie.
Fail.
Don't lie.
Can't play.
Get it up. Then came back again. Go back up there. Threw it again, I did like this. Absolutely. I said, man, if you don't get out this field. So on my end, I knew, to be honest with you, being a former team, being in a situation where all my family members, 16 out of 16 males, I knew I had to play ball.
You were sitting on the sideline, you got hurt in that Lamar game. As you're watching your teammates, guys you've been playing with since junior high, elementary, y'all good friends, were you surprised at the early struggle, knowing how good, because I've been watching y'all since 7th and 8th grade, so I knew this was a good class. Were you surprised at the early struggle, and were you surprised at the late run? I mean...
No, because just like Coach Holmes said, you get about a young boy. Like, seriously, we were just having a conversation. Young boy the best one today. Now, we can debate teams, we can debate other players, but John boy the best one today. You give him the ball, he's gonna make it happen. Kick it to him, he's gonna make it happen. Anything. Put him at. John boy could have played cornerback. Actually played strong safety with us in the time. Freshman at Central. That year, we started out with John Humphrey at slot. We started out with what they call a run and shoot back in '94. We came out 4 wide, 1 back, what they run now today. We tried that offense back in 1994.
Did you ever run it?
We ran the first 4 games.
I see.
You know, John Ball was at slot, at wide receiver.
Figured it out.
Brandon Beckley, a baseman, playing in the Major League Baseball as a pitcher. He was our quarterback. He didn't start out as quarterback. Trey Fisher started out as quarterback. So they was moving people around. We was trying to find a whole bunch, but it was.
Once y'all got it together, then y'all hit y'all stride.
When we hit that stride, bro, honestly.
As a matter of fact, even what Ken is saying, I think the 4th ball game, I went to Coach Barnes, he's the head coach there. Head coach. We are a type. Kids are funny here. We're different. I mean, the spread offense is great, but we got a kid need to be a tailback. The kids in Galveston love dotting the eye. And he kind of went through, we coaching meetings and stuff. Then he finally realized, well, let's give it a try. And after that, we started rolling. But the ball was in John Humphrey.
You got to put it in perspective. This is what people are not talking about with the cohesiveness. Is that Coach never left us. We left. Like this offense was just empty. And so we were trying to find a coach too before that season. So we didn't go into off season with a
right frame of mind. Right.
We had no coach. Coach Holmes interviewed for the position. Coach Barnes interviewed for the position. And crazy enough, the head coach from Waddell, who the stadium was named for Lamar, applied for that position. So they went into the season. We went into the season like Coach Holmes was the new defensive coordinator. He was coming from being the D-line coach. You know what I'm saying? Not that he couldn't be the defensive coordinator, but everything was new.
Yeah.
Everything was new. What we gonna run? So it wasn't like we just carry on from the next year where we had that defense in that offense. We had a whole new change.
I got one more question for football before we transition to basketball. And this is to Anthony. You were part of the infamous Tour Watch, which was comprised of mostly basketball players, kids with behavior problems, what was at-risk students, what was your role individually, and what was the role of your organization as far as motivating the football team?
We did nothing but crack jokes and want to break football. We had the best season.
Y'all didn't practice anything, like the stupid stuff y'all were doing on the sideline? Okay. That's it.
That's it. All right, Coach Will, you 95, but y'all played it. All of y'all played the year before, right? When y'all went, how far did y'all go? Was it regional semis or?
Semifinal. It was the regional semifinal.
Regional
Final
semifinal.
16.
Now, as a head coach, Coach Will, was that your best team that you coached? Or did they go the furthest out of all of your teams? Did it? As far as being coachable, because I know you had some unique.
You got two of them in the back.
Yeah, I mean, so how did you pull that together? You probably should have got a raise just for having to deal with it or whatever, because I mean.
Well, I think the most important thing about the players need that sure that coming over basketball, they had the intelligence how to play my role. Everybody that meant that as a team they were selfish together. Most important, the guys that came over, they were Division I type caliber football players. Sometimes being so, being highly recruited, getting telephone calls every day, so that possible to cause a swelling of the head when you come to your second sport. But fortunately enough, I bought that team because we didn't have that type of problem. Secrets that came over, Bill Wayne, a couple other guys came over that year. Very highly recruited in our football. But, so instrumental in the success that we had in basketball simply because they played as a team. They played themselves.
Coach Will, that team, look, you really didn't have much talent. You know, you look at that roster, top to bottom. I mean, you had a good starting five, but then the bench was, you know, I didn't think that bench was that good. Your tallest player was one of your guards, Damon Jones. Didn't really have much size. And like you said, you was heavily dependent on the football team with outside of Anthony and Damon. How did this team defy the odds of making it? I mean, because again, like I say, outside of two pure basketball players, you really didn't have much, Coach.
Well, number one, I think the most important thing is that really has the athletic ability. You started setting different things. At that time, take the example of sequence. I put a play in and from the position because he had that athletic ability. He played at this particular height, but he played at 6'6". Yeah. Anthony was a player, basketball player, and I played Anthony in the he was called a smart player. Yeah. He had a great deal of love for the game. Because he was so disciplined. Yeah. He was so disciplined. He was one receiver, but we played him inside at that time because he just had that good and didn't have the greatest speed.
Yeah.
Very good ball control.
Anthony, you and Damon, y'all averaged 24 and 22. Y'all was the highest backcourt in the Houston area. I mean, obviously, you know, the offense pretty much went through y'all. How did you guys determine who was going to get the ball at the end? Was there ever an issue between you guys? Was it pretty much Coach Will's call? And the reason why I say that is because I know your game, I know Damon's game, and wasn't a shot that you didn't like. How did y'all work that out between you two? Because like Coach Will said, the other guys played their role, especially the football players.
That's kind of a tough question. It depends. Most of the time that year was Damon.
Mm-hmm.
Damon got a lot of touches, but normally he's hitting maybe about 4 or 5 touches. And he's hitting his shot is usually on. But some days it'll be my shot that's on. We really didn't have any close games that year. I'd say maybe one maybe played pretty late, but not in 2014, not one where you had to say we got to take the right shot. Discipline-wise, talking about undisciplined players like Ken Hill, he would not listen in the timeout and do his thing once he got the ball because sometimes, and I was joking on that, but this was kind of a real situation right here. People know this. Sometimes where players got jealous of the players shooting the ball, and that was all the way around.
Oh, you guilty? Guilty as charged?
But I have a question for Coach Will. I had the chance to play for you for 3 years on varsity. 1 year as a freshman, I got moved up for the playoffs on varsity. And you talk about how football players come from football to basketball. How was you able to be the mindset to know that even though this guy's a football player, that he can start for me on varsity and to bring out the capabilities out of that football player to be a successful basketball player? Because I know before I got moved up with the Carlos Irvins and the Fred Burks and all of them, and I was with Lincoln Harden, Carl Simpson, Herschel Wafer, Sean Parrish, Larry Adair, I could go on, Larry Menifee, that you had all these guys that had basketball mindsets, but you knew how to put them in situations to know they role, wasn't worrying about what their attitude was going to be, and you had majority football players that was your starting five over natural basketball players.
It's very simple. I think one person, that person be you. And I'm saying this in a positive way because of the fact that particular year, your senior year, we didn't have a point guard. And I knew that I needed a point guard that really could direct the offense. And I needed a person on the floor that really can control the tempo of the game from the defensive standpoint and the offensive standpoint. And that was it. And I mean, it's very good. The thing that frightened me about having you, and I think about this all the time, I had a point guard that didn't have a left hand. He didn't have a left hand. But he played. He played as if it's a 6'3" guy. Very versatile. Great deal of leadership. And my point is that you see these things when kids come in as freshmen. You see them whether they're playing soccer or whether they're on the swimming team, and you study the mentality of it. By the time these kids get ready to elevate these kids on certain levels and certain sports, just like, for example, if Tony came over, and it was a rarity that these kids freshmen didn't know much. Tony, number one, everybody has love for the game. But sometimes when kids come in athletic development, if they have not matured to be on that level, you have to bring them up, ninth grade, sophomore, JV, and varsity. But Tony Anthony came in as a freshman, number one, he knew how to play man defense, which was about primary defense, so I kept him watching as a freshman. And as a freshman again, he knew
think you're being nice, Coach.
You
Go
got paid
ahead.
on this one.
So you got paid. Coach Will, let me ask you this. When did you know that team was going to be special? At what point in the season?
What happened is brought you. How you doing? Okay.
That's all I got. Yeah, go ahead, see.
You gotta also put in perspective like Coach Will was a football player. So before basketball season, Coach Will was working with the wide receivers. So that means he's working with the DBs.
You kind of already knew.
Seeing the agility, seeing how you can slide your feet, the same way you slide your feet in football, slide your feet in basketball, you play defense. So he's telling you, unlike the coaches of today, you can come out and play basketball. So you got to coach that involved in everything. You get out there, you ain't a football player playing basketball. You're a basketball player.
And that was a thing back in the day, in the 80s and 90s. Everybody played everything.
Yeah.
You just didn't play no one sport.
Yeah. And like when we go out there, when I went out there, like I wasn't a football player playing basketball. I played all kind of well in basketball. And Rodney Smith led the East area in rebounding at 5'10", and I led at 6'1". And we were playing against 6'8", 6'10", 6'11". But we led the rebound. We led the league in rebound back to back because we wanted it. Yeah. And that, not to say that ain't what they had, but that's what we bring. We bring that toughness that they lack in basketball or don't want to be touched. We bringing that like, come on, we can touch you up. And Coach Will can take this here. Whenever we had a close game, and Coach Will drew up that play you talking about, no, ask him what I would say. What I say, Coach Will? Just make sure.
But you know what I love about all of that, man? It's crazy that these coaches, they can remember every year, every player, the season. Yeah, the sayings, the statements.
We all think because a lot of times we have football players that come play another sport, basketball. You know what I'm saying? They can play just to keep them active throughout the school year. These dudes love basketball. You understand? They love the game. You understand? Like in the Central, I mean, they were football players. Yeah. But the love was about that basketball.
And that made the difference.
Well, that's a good example of what Anthony is saying. In our younger days, myself, Coach Williams, Coach Brown, and sometimes Coach Dinkins, the young coaching staff.
Play basketball.
Hey, when workout is over, we're in the gym playing basketball.
I remember them hard picks.
What he said, we all love basketball. Yeah. So it's a carryover.
Well, man, again, we want to thank y'all like we thanked everybody else for taking time out of your day, away from your families, coming up here, helping us. We're also doing a documentary. Larry be reaching out to some of the individuals that I know he's going to use some of this in the interview and whatnot. But you have everybody's contact information.
Yeah.
So, man, like I said, again, we appreciate it, man. I know we've been having y'all sitting here for a long time. Sorry, well, I mean, it's a lot to cover.
I love talking sports. Yeah. Hey, I don't know anything else but talking.
The most important, I like the part
the interest, for the unity that don't know how much is again represented.
Also, most of the coaches are pretty good.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point, Coach Will. You can look at stat sheets and you can read about it in a magazine or whatever, but you don't know the background, the stories, and that's the whole point of having y'all talk about some stories and make it more personable. And but that's all I got, Wes.
All right. Always live at 9-5. Y'all remember that.
3.
All right, we back live upper room. Now we back with the coaches. You've already introduced yourselves. I guess, and we'll make this real quick. Just kind of go around, whichever way y'all want to start. What it meant to you, as far as coaching, at Galveston Ball, and how it made you feel, because each and every one of you had your former players come up and say what an impact that you had on their lives, not only during playing time, but beyond that.
To me, the most important thing right now is to look back on that. On a daily basis, I see individuals like these two guys right here sitting here that are making a contribution to their community, to their family members, and their good citizens. Several times that I receive calls every other day from someone wanting to take you to lunch. Or people that are in administrative positions for education is concerned, people, former players that are just doing great, entrepreneurs doing great things. When I say great things, I mean representing the community with good character, whereas they can make an impact upon kids, the kids that are observing the community, that good citizens, the family. That's always very important.
Coach Barrett?
Well, coaching at Ball High, I just wanted to try to carry on the legacy of Galveston Athletics. I had never heard of Ball High until the 69 team played Houston, Washington. I listened to the game on the radio, and when I got to Galveston, I learned of all the athletic history of Central and at Ball High before I got there, especially after integration. And so I just didn't want to mess it up. I just wanted to carry on the legacy and keep Ball High on top.
Coach Draw?
I enjoyed ball. I tell people, I say, it's a very good chance I would have retired in that, given the opportunity. I just enjoyed the, like you say, the camaraderie of the staffs and the players. I spent a lot of time there. My wife used to always say, you go to work and have fun. It's like it's not a job.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it was nothing for me to go in there and we get to practice at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and it's 8 o'clock when I leave school. And not just football, but basketball. You there, all there, I can call here to the chain. We still see it doesn't matter. We talk about things going on. But just, you had kids that would work and wanted to do it. It was amazing to me. My son coached over there, and he said people didn't believe that they used to beat Lamar. When he got the ball, they didn't believe that. And like Coach said, it's tradition and stuff. I'm about to see Charles Alexander run track, and then the next year here comes another one. Here comes Harry Strong. Here comes, just year after year, it's coming out of there. And just to see them go off to college and stuff, and I just tried to do what I could to be a part of it. And just, I coached the way I was coached. I want people to know that, one of the coaches told me, he said, a child would take a whooping from his daddy before he would have straight. And I just kind of put it there, I treat you like a father, like, y'all know better than anybody. Right. Given that, I jumped in just like, as bad as anybody. And I would tell you that because I treated you like you.
Right.
That's the way I was raised. That's the way I wanted to be coaching. That's the way I tried to go.
Coach on.
Okay, my thing about coaching is Galveston. I'm a BOI born and raised in Galveston. As a matter of fact, I had some pretty good coaches. Coach Blitz, Coach Kerrville, Coach Dillon, Coach Bethel. They was like a role model to me. In other words, like say, there was that foundation that they had. They had a close staff. And the thing about it, once I got the ball high, I always wanted to excel in sport. Because there was a time, and like say, that I knew in order for me to go to college, in order for my brother to go to college, because we graduated the same year. And single parent. So we knew we had to do something if we want how big was to go to school. And was playing sports with my coaches, laid the foundation, talking about the importance of sports and football, whatever, that it could lead you a long way. And then once I started coaching and stuff, I wanted to be the same role model that my high school coaches were. And also lay a foundation, the same thing. Guys, take advantage. You got some type of athletic ability. Utilize it. But you can go, because a lot of parents can't afford you to go to school. And this was an outlet for us, for the gals, to do well in sports, do well in the classroom, where you get a chance to, like say, go to college, meet new people and stuff, get a chance to travel and stuff, and also just make yourself being a man, be positive. Yeah. And that's what I want to be a role model. And even when I first started coaching guys, my favorite thing, and I still say it today, there's another life besides Galveston. A lot of kids, they want to stay down for what? Cross that causeway. Right. Cross the causeway. And you see, you meet people, and you get a chance now. One day, you're going to be a parent, or you're going to be a role model to your kids. And so that's my main thing, is being a role model to have the kids and gals have the opportunity like everybody else has.
You
give yourself a chance.
All you coaches, you coach from the 70s all the way through to 2000s at Galveston Ball at some point in your career. And you've coached other places too. Talk about the difference in where you coached in other places compared to Galveston and some of the challenges that you feel like, yeah, this is an issue or this is something that's going on in Galveston that may prevent us from possibly winning the state. I mean, you've coached at Lamar, you've coached at a different program. So there's some things, we all know there's some things in Galveston there are some major challenges for the kids. And so looking at being a part of other programs, what are those differences? Yeah.
See challenges. Yeah. That's something that you're always observing. Being an observer of the program, you see challenges, and some of the challenges that you have is sometimes let's see it show everything. There's a brighter light somewhere else. They should have to work. You have to be willing to work for it. And you have to be willing to present yourself in a positive way.
Yeah.
To be considered. That's right.
But you three, okay, so Coach Will, you haven't, but you three, you have. So I guess what I want to know is, what are those unique challenges? Because, yeah, every program is going to have it. But can you talk about maybe some unique challenges that's in Galveston that may be different than other places that you coach? Coach Barrett?
Perhaps parental involvement.
Yep.
That was some players I didn't know that now. But I've coached places where, with the first day of practice, it was like
we're playing the game. All these parents were in the audience, you know, in the stands. And so that's a big difference. You know, parental involvement can be good, and it can also be bad. But that is a big difference. It was a big difference. I don't know how it is.
Coach Draw?
I guess I didn't find it this week. You know, and I left Galveston. It's funny, I leave Galveston, I go to Texas City, and the support there was so much different. We talked about it. When I get to Texas City the year before, I get y'all City here, the year we beat them, and they were like 1-9 or something. And they would get a first down, and you think they scored a touchdown. Fans were just going crazy. I mean, but the great thing, I guess, was the superintendent was involved in the first down. He would be in the head coach, and he would be over there, and just anything we needed for athletics, we got. When I went to the interview at the middle school, they said, well, Coach Dowling wants to hire you, so that's all I need to know. It wasn't like I had to interview at the middle school. Right. Coach Cleve wanted me to have. You know, I went from Galveston at being off at 12 o'clock, you know, to when I became the head coach, I was off at 2 o'clock. And none of the coaches was off. We couldn't have a staff meeting. I go to Texas City, and I'm through most of the day. You know, I go to the market, I'm through, you know, after they come to the schedule, you know, and principals and administrators and stuff, they can do whatever they need to. They'll tell you, like they told me, well, we can't change the schedule. But in the spring after I left, every varsity coach was to do it at 12 o'clock. But they told me they didn't do my schedule. So that makes a difference. And the marketing is the same thing. Whatever we needed, right, it was done. Yeah. And you get fans like Coach say, you know, I look at the mark in us. Those last 2 years, we both lost in the second round. The difference was the mark stayed with the same staff, all changed. You know, and I look at just recently, Side Fair. The Side Fair just won the state championship. Like when I was at my partner, Side Fair was 1-9. The only people they beat was Jersey City 2 or 3 years in a row. But that same staff won the state championship a few years ago. They didn't get fired just because people had to understand sometimes you don't have all the talent. Right. But they support you. You know, that's the big thing, the support.
Coach Holland?
Okay, I can go back to Coach Barry saying the parent involvement. That's number one. Like, and not only that, the administrative aspect also. If you notice, every student would like to go to the North Shore, go to the state. Like what goes down with by the mark. From the administration buildings to the principal, to everybody's involved. So in other words, they get a coach what the coach needs. They get a coach time enough to be successful. You know, but in Galveston, that's what we are like for years, and that's not changed. We do not have a total involvement. Parents, they just like on senior night. You know, some of my coaches had to walk out of the play. Mom and dad too sorry. And that is your kid. And most kids, it's just like Lil Lee. Even like my grandson left. Kids gonna play harder. They know mom is watching.
Yep.
They know dad is watching. My sister is watching. My brother. But we don't have that.
Right.
It was like the support. I remember when I was JV coach, we needed some uniforms, some jerseys, because we always got the hand-me-down from the varsity, and we had about 4 or 5 different jerseys on the same team, you know. And I tried to get them to get some jerseys. So one game we were playing game in Galveston, so I just said, well, we're going to wear some T-shirts. And I took a mark and put the numbers on there. And the next game, we had some jerseys. But this is what you have to do to get what you needed. No, that.
That's it. Well, man, coaches, we definitely appreciate y'all, man, coming out again. You know, taking time out of your busy day. Coach Barry, we know you ain't want to drive home at night, so man, we appreciate you sticking around.
I understand, Coach. I understand.